Hey everyone, I am Larry and this is Jeremiah, and we have absolutely no clue what we're doing, but we're going to do it anyway. We are the two Beavs. This is the first episode of Two Beavs and a Mic, and basically we are going to sit here, we are going to drink, and we're going to talk random sports and random useless knowledge and random information about our local Arizona sports teams. We're going to cover the Cardinals, Diamondbacks, Suns, Coyotes, ASU basketball, ASU football, maybe a little GCU basketball, a little Thunder Dan, a little Mercury. We'll sprinkle maybe some ASU baseball in there. But basically, we're both born and raised here in Arizona. Grew up Arizona sports fans. Jeremiah, I think, dabbled a little bit with the Chicago Bears, but we won't talk about the dark days like that.
Go Bears. Go Bears.
He's a Cardinals fan deep down. But basically, we're extremely passionate about our local Arizona sports, and over the years, people have told me, listen, Larry, you've got a lot of ridiculous, stupid sports knowledge. You retain facts and statistics like it's nothing over the years, and you're passionate about all these local teams, and why not get an outlet, use an outlet to let everyone know your thoughts and what you think. And honestly, for the most part, most of you probably don't even really care. And guess what? I don't care either. I'm going to throw it out there. And if you guys like it, if you guys like what we have to say, keep coming back. And so one day I finally decided to do this, and I ran it by Jeremiah. And Jeremiah thought it was a ridiculous, stupid idea. And like all my ridiculous, stupid ideas, he wanted in. And wanted to jump in, and he's going to add some of his drunken knowledge and drunken wisdom to what I have to say, and we're just going to kind of roll with it. So that's basically what we are and who we are.
One thing you left out was a little PGA, a little Phil Mickelson, which kind of ties into ASU sports, but a little PGA, little Phil Tiger.
What's your handicap?
Very handicapped. Very handicapped. I don't have a specific number. I just put very.
I know nothing about golf, so we're probably gonna have to let Jeremiah be the golf expert on the show from here on out. So just a heads up, write that down. So
Boom.
You're in charge of the golf
PGA expert,
golf department.
Boom. Tiger.
So basically, that's us in a nutshell. We're gonna try to do this once a month to start. Kind of go from there, see what kind of following we get. We got jobs, we got lives, so I mean, we can't dedicate ourselves 100% to this, but we will do our best and try to get our thoughts out there and go from there. So other than that, let's get this show on the road. Here's my rant for the month that I will do every month to start up the show. I try to touch a little bit up on a big national topic that's going on right now, and that topic is the new NFL hit rule that is bothering the hell out of everyone right now with all the flags that are being thrown, like Jeremiah just said. Sick of all the flags. Over the last 15, 20 years, tackling has gone downhill. It's just poor. And anybody watch ASU play over the last 5 years under Todd Graham, there was a lot of real bad tackling going on. I don't know where the breakdown in coaching is happening. I'm assuming there's a lot of bad coaching going on in Pop Warner and a lot of bad coaching going on in high school. The assumption of turning yourself into a missile and trying to jar the ball loose from an opponent is more important than wrapping and tackling and taking the ball carrier down to the ground. I don't know when, where, or why this started being the way to tackle. And I don't know if this is the way it's being taught now, but I know from an early age, 8, 9 years old, playing for our father in Pop Warner, you learn to keep your head up, see what you hit, put your nose on the ball, ear hole on the chest, on the numbers, wrap around the ball carrier and drive them into the ground. That's how you tackle. Step, dip, strike. In high school, we played at Mountain Point High School in Ahwatukee under Coach Carl Kiefer, and they ran a very disciplined program there and taught the proper way to tackle. So I've been around other programs. I've been around Pop Warner programs. I've been around high school programs, and I have seen a lot of bad coaching out there, and I could assume that there's even worse. So I don't know. I'm thinking the NFL needs to probably step in and maybe go down to the lower levels and maybe do some coaches clinics, especially if they're going to start enforcing this rule like the way they are right now. But I am very pro this rule. I'm on the side of this rule. I'm very anti the wussification of America, anti the wussification of the sport of football. I hate the Brady rule and not being able to hit the quarterback and no helmet to helmet and all these other rules that are getting thrown out there. I hate seeing the game be less physical. It's a physical sport. These guys, and when you sign up to play football, you're going to play a very physical, tough, violent sport, and you know what you signed up for. So I understand players wanting to make the game safer, but I also don't want to change the game. But I don't think this rule is changing the game. I think it's trying to bring it back to its roots. I think it's trying to bring it back to tackling the proper way. And I know players hate change right now, and a lot of fans hate change right now, but I think it's for the better. Now, the way the NFL is implementing the rule right now, I think they're throwing a lot more flags during the preseason. Hopefully this is the way they're doing it. And Roger Goodell, I know how everybody feels about Roger Goodell, but working with the refs and telling them call as many penalties and flags as you can right now to teach them the way that things should be. And then maybe during the regular season, tone it down a little bit. A lot less flags. I know the statistic went down in week 3 of the preseason of how many flags were thrown for this new penalty. So I think they're already kind of changing it a little bit, and I think players are adapting to it a little bit. So I'm hoping during the regular season you don't see as much, but I'm hoping the game changes and kind of goes back to that wrap when you tackle. I'd rather see less of the big missile hits and a lot more good tackling, proper tackling. For every big missile launch hit where guys are putting their head down and spearing other guys, spearing the ball carrier, you're going to get 10 missed tackles for every time you do that. I'd rather see a lot of just proper good form and technique out there. So hopefully during the regular season it gets toned down a little bit and then bring it back a little stronger next year. And within the next 2 or 3 years, hopefully the game has changed a little bit to where you see a lot better tackling, a lot better form. And I don't think you're going to really notice that big of a difference here in a few years. Any thoughts, Jeremiah?
Dumb. Entire rule is fucking stupid. I think it's a terrible rule. It's let the dudes run around, hit people. If you want to go spear someone, spear the shit out of them. You're taking a risk if you're lowering your head, though. Learn how to tackle. Keep your head up. If you have your head down, you're going to get injured. Or 2, Saints-Vikings playoffs last year. Dude's going to run, put his head down and run right by him. Stephon Diggs scores an easy touchdown. It's learn how to tackle, keep your head up. You can still hurt people by keeping your head up. If you keep your head down, you know, possibly hurt yourself, you might get a little bit of a better hit, but it's just stupid. I think let the people hit however they want to hit. They're putting themselves at risk, and that's their issue. They're getting paid millions of dollars. They can hit however they want. If the dude's that are keep his head down, put himself in jeopardy, possibly injure himself, break his neck, that's his fault.
I think Jeremiah is a lot like a lot of people out there that are upset with this rule. Has got to realize that the game is changing, and the NFL is under a lot of scrutiny for a lot of these injuries and a lot of concussions and spinal injuries that are happening now. The players are wanting change, and this is one of those things. And it's something else. This goes to the collective bargaining agreement that's coming up in a couple of years, and they're already talking about possibly having one of the worst strikes in sports history. So this could be one of those things when they come to the bargaining table, and the NFL can say, hey, listen, we did this, and we did this, and we did this, and we changed these rules to make the game a lot safer for you guys. But yet you're still claiming that we are doing nothing to make this game safer. And this is one of those few rules of the 5 or 6 rule changes that they've made over the past couple of years to make the game safer that I'm 100% on board with. The other rules, not so much. Like Jeremiah said, this is a tough guy sport. You know what you signed up for, but this is a rule that I do 100% support. How about you?
All right, so we are now going to talk a little GCU basketball, ASU basketball. I know it's a little ways out, but I figure since it's our first episode, edition, whatever the hell this is, we're going to kind of touch a little bit on everything. So GCU, ASU basketball getting started November 6th. It's right around the corner. I know football's getting ready to get started, but basketball's not that far out. And I've never been to a GCU basketball game. It's kind of on my bucket list. You haven't been to one, have you?
No, never been, but heard exciting things about them.
The Fighting Thundering Dans. That's not really what they're called.
Is it true?
The Lopes, the Antelopes, right?
The loping Dans.
Anyway, they just moved up to D1, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and last year was their first year being tournament eligible, and they're good. A lot of people don't know about them out there. They lost, I believe, in the conference championship last year to New Mexico State, I believe. They got a few guys returning this year.
They get the crazy junior transfers. They get all those sophomore, junior transfers that come over there.
And they have one of the best crowds in the entire country. And a lot of people don't know this, and a lot of people don't believe it. Rick Pitino, Louisville, former Louisville head coach, came down a couple years ago and said, other than Duke, it's the best home crowd he's ever played against, been a part of. So they're impressive down there, and it's kind of one of my bucket list things here in the Valley to get out there and check them out. Only a 7,000 seat arena, and they sell out every single game. So I'd like to the Havocs, I think is what they call them. So need to try to get out there one game this season.
Second best basketball university in Arizona. I feel like they got a growing program there with ASU on top and GCU second best team in the state. I feel like they got a big.
They're pretty much the only two programs.
Yeah,
I mean that's it.
NAU sneaks in every now and then, but they're a 1AA team still. So GCU's on the up and up.
I still would like ASU to finally back down their stance and maybe start playing GCU. And maybe GCU keeps claiming that ASU's afraid of them. So I'd like to see, maybe they've talked about doing the 4 schools in the state, maybe doing some sort of tournament. ASU, GCU, NAU, and that other school get together and do a 14 tournament.
I know we weren't going to talk U of A sports, but I would like to talk about U of A sports for the basketball program because I feel like they are on the downfall with all their cheating, all of the scholarships that they had out there last year, everybody transferring. Did anybody commit last year?
They got at least 1 4-star. They may have gotten a couple of 4-stars.
All right, we'll edit that part out then.
But they were going to bring in a guard. One of the 5 final schools, I think ASU was a part of it. He was the kid that decommitted from their school, opened back up his recruiting, and then ended up going to U of A eventually anyway.
U of A. Downfall. They're on the downfall.
Still all alleged. So we'll see what happens. I heard a couple weeks ago that all that was going to come down about a month ago, and we still haven't heard. So we'll see what happens with all that. Until then, U of A did have a rough recruiting deal this last season. So we'll see what kind of team they lost a lot of guys too. So we'll see what kind of team they put on the court next season. But with ASU basketball, this is the first time in a very maybe that I can remember. I'm more excited about ASU basketball than I am about ASU football right now. 6 returners, 6 new, and 4 incoming true freshmen. 2 guys who sat out last year, who, from what I was told and from what I've heard, tore up practices all year last year. Now their ascension to number 3 in the country was outrageous, completely unexpected. But by the end of the season, even after choking through the Pac-12 schedule, by the end of the season, making the tournament and almost winning that first round game against Syracuse, they exceeded expectations. and I was very proud of what that program did. I'm hoping Bobby Hurley's just running through recruiting right now and dominating recruiting. Very surprising how well he's doing. Might not be up to par as far as coaching and strategy goes, but he's bringing in the players. And two guys that sat out, Zylan Cheatham, not sure if I said his name right, and Rob Edwards, supposedly dominated through practices last year, and now they're eligible this year. 4 freshmen coming in, including 5-star Tayshaun Cherry. We'll get into more ASU basketball further down the road, but very excited about that team and that program this year. Definitely lost ball handlers and shooting, but which was their strengths last year, but gained in length and athleticism, which were their weaknesses last year. So big things coming for ASU basketball.
Basketball program looks like a bunch of free safeties out there right now playing basketball.
The freshman coming in, Lugens Dort, is a beast. Rob Edwards is a beast. They do look like a bunch of defensive backs on the football team. They are some big dudes. But moving on a little bit in basketball, Phoenix Mercury are actually playing in the conference finals right now. They're playing right now as we are filming this. Down 0-2 to Seattle. We're not normally going to talk a lot of Phoenix Mercury, but they're very relevant right now. They are in the Final Four.
We're going to throw a little score update in the middle of this right now. We're going to throw in a little score update right now. I hope that score update went through. Hopefully we're winning. I'm not sure if we're winning or not.
I checked. They were up by 16, I believe, in the fourth quarter. So they're at home right now. It looks like they're going to lock up this game, be down 2-1. But listen, I wanted to talk about this. Brittany Griner was drafted in 2013, okay? Now, she had a lot of hype coming out of college. Everybody knew about her. She was dunking at Baylor. Big deal, right? And a lot of people claim that Diana Taurasi is the Michael Jordan of the WNBA. That she is possibly the greatest WNBA player, greatest female player of all time. Okay? So, when we get Brittany Griner in 2013, in my mind, it's like Michael Jordan's getting Shaq in his prime. All right, getting rookie Shaquille O'Neal added to Michael Jordan, the greatest player of all time, and these two are going to win championship after championship after championship. Now they won it in 2014, which was Brittany Griner's second year, and you're thinking there's a dynasty that's going to be built here. Taurasi left in 2015 to go play in Russia. She sat out the year, 2015. But you got 2016, 2017, and it looks like they're not going to win it this year, and that's what? 3-4 full seasons of the two of them playing together? 5.
What do you mean they're not going to win this year?
5 full seasons of them playing together in one championship. If they come back in this series and win this year, then maybe we can talk. But if they lose again this year, that's kind of a failure. And that's the way I look at it.
Legend, WNBA champion, Olympic gold medalist, JJ guarantee Mercury are going to win the finals this year. Come back. They're down 0-2 best of 5 series. Then they'll win tonight. Then they'll win game 4. Then they'll win game 5. Win the best of 5 series. Win the championship.
Guess what?
JJ guarantee.
Guess what?
What?
Diana Taurasi's on my list.
Ooh, like your free list, like your
No, man.
like your wife knows about this.
No, man. No, man.
Your cheat list.
Arizona athletes that I want to get drunk with.
Okay.
She's on my list.
So let's say you do better than Taurasi.
She seems like a real cool chick. Go get drunk with Diana Taurasi. A bunch of players on my list. What list were you talking about, man?
You're like 3 that you would say that you would have negotiated with your wife, like Jennifer Aniston.
No, man.
So why you got Taurasi on it?
That's some weird stuff, man. I'm taking for, and I think Diana Taurasi is spoken for also.
All right.
So.
Oh.
Is that how you wanted to start it?
Yeah, we're talking about Coyotes now.
Okay. Hey, Coyotes hockey. Let's talk a little bit about it. I know the season's I think like a month and a half away from getting started out. Rough start to last season. I believe they lost like their last 11, 12, 13 games, something like that. And I was wondering if Rick Tocchet, their new head coach, was going to make it to the 20th game. I think they lost, 18 out of 21 games, their first 21 games. But a very young team. They were putting out 7 to 9, 19, 20, and 21-year-olds out there. Now, I don't know if a lot of you out there think about when you were 19, 20, 21 compared to when you were 25, 26. You're a boy. And basically you're becoming a man. And a lot of these kids, a lot of these Coyotes out there are becoming men. And they're learning the hard way. But at the end of the season, that last month of the season, they played like a playoff team. They were very solid, and they put out a pretty good hockey team out there. Antti Ranta, who they got in a trade last offseason, had some injury problems throughout the season, but last couple months of the season played real strong. You got a young core: Clayton Keller, Christian Dvorak, Jacob Chikrin, Brandon Pralini, a young core of Fisher. Dylan Strome is probably going to come up, and I think Strome's breakout year is going to be this year. He was picked behind Connor McDavid and Jack Eichel a couple years ago, both superstars, and a lot of people were had high hopes for Dylan Strome. I think this is the year he's been tearing up the minors for the past couple of years. I think this is the year that he comes up and starts scoring some goals for the big club.
On the up and up. On the up and up. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited about the Shane Doan February promotion. What is it?
I'm not sure the date.
They're not. Are they retiring his jersey?
They're retiring his number.
Retiring his number.
He is not necessarily the first Coyote going into the Ring of Honor. Keith Chug, Jeremy Roenick, and Teppo Numminen are all inducted into the Ring of Honor, the Coyotes Ring of Honor. Shane Doan is going into the Ring of Honor, but he's going to be the first Coyote officially to have his number retired. Kachuk, Roenick, and Numminen have not had their numbers retired. Doan is the first.
But Donor giving you a little shout out, man. Hey, you'll be on the bottom of this video right here, right down here. You're gonna be getting a shout out. Give us a little follow. Give us a little love. A little Shane Doan comment maybe. It wouldn't hurt.
That was like a no shame. You just what do you want, like a jersey or
maybe a jersey? I'll take a jersey.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Sign puck. I saw the little air conditioning commercial. Shane Doan. I saw all those pucks on the wall. Just toss your boy one of those.
Just one for 2 bucks.
2 bucks. 2 pucks, 2 Beavs.
So getting excited about Coyote hockey. Hopefully they can fight for a playoff spot this year, but we'll get more into that further down the road. Let's talk a little Suns basketball. A little starting right around the same time, a little further down the road too. Didn't think I was going to talk much about them tonight, but then they go and make a big trade right before we have our first show. Unexpected. Didn't see this coming. Marquise Chris and Brandon Knight traded to the Houston Rockets for Ryan Anderson and DeAnthony Melton. Don't know a whole lot about Melton, even though he played at USC. I should know a little bit about him. From what I heard today, it sounds like he had to sit out last year for all the investigations and everything that was going on at USC. I didn't even know that going into the draft process. I hadn't heard a whole lot about him. I had heard his name mentioned. Didn't even know that he was really an option for the Suns to pick him. Since he did have to sit out last year, maybe he is better than where he was drafted, which was in the middle of the second round. We got Eli Okobo at the beginning of the second round out of France. A lot of people don't know about him either. From what I saw and from what I've heard, a couple scouts had him as a top 15 lottery pick.
We got Okobo?
Okobo.
Okobo? Look at a fucking Okobo jersey.
I
don't even know who that is, but I like Okobo.
Problem is Okobo's a tweener, point guard, shooting guard. He's also a rookie. DeAnthony Melton's a rookie. And the only other point guard now that we have on the roster after we've traded Brandon Knight is Shaq Harrison, who's a defensive specialist, undrafted, was on the Suns last year, but didn't make that big of a difference. I like Shaq Harrison. I think eventually he can be a defensive specialist on a team off the bench. Okobo might end up being a solid player. I didn't want to see him getting heavy minutes at the beginning of the season. Melton, I don't know a whole lot about. I'll have to do a little more research on him. Don't want to see him getting heavy minutes off the bench. So the Suns don't have a point guard now. Traded Marquise Chris, which one of my topics that I was going to talk about tonight was I think we need to get rid of Marquise Chris. I think we need to trade Marquise Chris. So they went out and did that. but not in a way that I thought they would. Moved Marquise Chris, moved Brandon Knight. From what I'm hearing of Ryan Anderson, his contract was very similar to Brandon Knight's, but he was actually due more money. He has agreed to take a pay cut next season down to what Brandon Knight's salary would have been next year. So that is a little caveat in that trade. Ryan Anderson is due next season the same amount of money as Brandon Knight. So we could waive him and just owe him, I think $15.6 million, which was what Brandon Knight was going to make. Ryan Anderson's a great shooter, but not much else as a power forward off the bench. A stretch four.
Speaking of NBA, though, did you see the video of Dirk Nowitzki trying to dunk a basketball the other day?
I did not.
Dude got like 2 inches off the ground. So, random side note, I'll throw the clip in there. Dude's a joke, side note. But, speaking of the Mavericks falling down, I think the Suns got a chance. 8 seed? 7 seed? Playoff team next year, JJ guarantee. At least an 8 seed. Then get smoked by the Warriors or the Lakers. 8 seed though.
No position to do any kind of projections right now because that's way far down the line. But I think this trade today made us a worse basketball team, which we weren't a playoff team before that. So we'll see. I think there's another move coming. For sure, another move coming. I'm thinking Kemba Walker, possibly Damian Lillard. I don't know if we have the pieces to get either one of those guys. I've heard Terry Rozier's name thrown out there. But any less than Terry Rozier, I'm going to view this trade as a failure. Basically, they're admitting to failing in drafting Marquise Chris. They are trading Chris and Brandon Knight in a position of weakness. I am not a fan of that. I have not been a fan of a lot of Ryan McDonough's moves. I think he looks at analytics, statistics, and talent more than heart and being a winner. And I was hoping, one other little thing I want to add, I'm hoping that this move might somehow free us up to be able to bring back Big Sauce. I want to see us bring back Alan Williams. But real quick, Jeremiah, real quick.
Favorite sauce?
No. Let's say you're in a bar in Scottsdale, okay? Restaurant, bar, family type atmosphere, okay? And you see Tom Chambers. What do you do?
Take a shot with him or buy him a beer.
Okay. Do you call him a big bitch and try to pick a fight with him?
No, I've seen that dude. I've seen pictures. I've seen dunks. I'll let him posterize me. Call him a bitch. He's a posterize me.
6'10", 305 pounds, Suns legend Tom Chambers apparently a couple weeks ago had a 22-year-old little scumbag call him out, say he ain't nothing, say his arms are skinny, he's got no chest, he's got a fat gut. Now
as a friend of mine would say, I'm sure Tom Chambers said this. He said, "I ain't no punk bitch."
But that's what Tom Chambers basically said after the kid finally said, "Your mother should have killed you out of the womb." Something like that. It was along those lines, out of the womb. So Tom took offense to that and commenced to kicking his ass. Came across the restaurant and went after the kid. And the kid, apparently, Tom was arrested for assault. The kid wouldn't press charges, wanted an apology. And then Tom said, basically, I just wanted the kid to show me respect, which I agree with. What would you have done sitting at that bar and you see Tom come at the kid?
I wish I would have been there if I had a basketball. The kid was just standing right there. I would have tossed the basketball right above the kid. Tom Chambers would just grab it, slam down right on the kid.
The old school two-handed dunk?
The two-handed dunk, just right on top of the kid.
And then dead.
Boom. Dead. Probably. Boom.
End of story. Boom.
It was just an athletic move. They wouldn't call it murder. It's just an athletic move.
Too big.
1, 2, 3, go. Tune
Good job,
in.
man.
Tune in once a month.
First weekend of every month, we'll be posting 2 Beavs and a Mic.
We'll be coming live from ASU, Michigan State, though. Forgot to tell you about that.
All right.
Coming in live.